All right, folks, this is the 2018 Look Back show of Distance from Center. I'm Horton, and that's Trent. Trent, tell me about 2018.
So, for me, if I was going to put a headline on 2018, it would absolutely be the year of 41 off. Unprecedented. 6 different skiers ran 41 this year. And there's actually a 7th that we'll get to. We'll plug that in at the end. But 6 different pro men ran 41 off at 36 miles an hour. And without knowing, I didn't, research back far enough to know, but I would think the most in the past has been 4 to be safe. 3 might even be the most accurate. Different people running 41 in the same year, but I know it's never been 6, and that much I know. John, you got some pretty heavy numbers.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it could ever have been 4. I don't know. But so let's zip through who did what quickly. So 21-year-old Robert Pagozzi ran for his first time ever. Exciting. Kudos to you, Robert. Sasha ran it twice. Freddie ran it twice. And for those of you who check on my stats here, if you look at the most recent rankings list, it looks like 3 times. But the one time at LaPointe Park was actually in November of 17. Brings us to Asher. He ran it once. Travers ran it once. And Nate Smith ran it 10 times, which is amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely incredible. It's the field, we've been saying this all year, the field's getting deeper and the talent pool's getting broader, and this is just, veritable numbers. There's just guys running 41, running 41, running 41. So from, guys that have never ran it in the past to guys who hadn't ran it in years to, Nate, albeit, in the past he's run it 25 times, but he's still ran it 10 times this year. So my headline of the year is the summer of 41.
Right. Now, I think there was a year where Nate actually ran it 27 times. And I think there was a little bit of excitement at some point in the year when skiers saw Nate miss 39s, which, believe it or not, is not very common. He actually missed it. He missed 39 at Moomba, the U.S. Masters, the Cal Pro-Am, and the California Pro-Am, and Pan Ams, which you would think would be, would knock him out of it. But unfortunately for the rest of the field, he still came back to win all but one of those events. In fact, he won every event he entered this year, except for the California Pro-Am, where he came in 11th. So with one minor blip, he still really nearly ran the table.
Yeah, it is incredible. So he, showed a little chink in his armor, which, gives people probably a little bit of emotional momentum or a little bit of confidence, but that's not a very big chink. So, John, what's your if you had to recap this year, what's your headline of the year?
Well, besides the summer of 41, it's kind of the summer of controversial 41s. So as we look at you take Nate out of it, right? You take Nate's 10 41s out, and you look at the remaining 7. None of them will run in the United States, whereas most of these athletes actually live in Orlando. They ski most of their record tournaments in Orlando. I think anybody that would argue that the conditions at most of their events are not spectacular is ill-informed. So they ran it 4 times in one day at a tournament in Spain, and then the remaining 3 41s of the year were run in France. It's easy to draw conclusions, but there's no real hard facts. I will say that if you take the 4 41s in one day in Spain out of the rankings list, the rankings list changed significantly, and I think this is important to the skiers. As an example, without the Spanish scores in there, Robert Pagozzi goes from 6th on the list to 10th, and Thomas de Gasperi goes from 7th on the list to 5th. And those, of course, aren't the only shifts, but these lists are important to their skiers. It affects their invites to particular events. It affects their incomes, integrity of these events is critical. Been a lot of discussion about was it just a special day, or was there something going on? Nobody has a good answer, but I think it's a very interesting story, and I've certainly gotten a lot of grief for talking about it.
I mean, conversations is fine, and to even just hear that outside of one athlete this summer where 41 was ran over and over and over, that none of those happened in the States is shocking, right? Because but devil's advocate, then you could say, for years, I wonder if the Europeans were suspicious of Orlando or South Carolina, or so, without pointing fingers with limited information, all I can say is it's absolutely shocking. Just with all the records that happen in the States, there's probably more records in a single month in Florida than there are in all of Europe for the entire summer. So it's super surprising for sure.
Okay, so moving on from there, speaking of record, that brings us to world records, and we had a slew of them this year, starting with Regina Jaquez, who ran into 41 off 38 times this year and set a new world record of 4 at 41 once, and if you saw the video, it almost looked like she was going to run the pass.
Yeah,
I mean, it was not, she didn't squeak around 4 and get back to the back. She was crushing it, and for the record, there was nothing questionable about that record. That boat path was perfect and awesome.
Yeah, it was. Just do yourself a favor. Like it's social media. It's not hard to find. It's been circulating this week again for some reason. Well, probably that reason is that it's absolutely incredible. But watch it. You can see her get a little tight from 2 to 3 when she absolutely knows she's ahead of the pass, and 4-ball looked just like maybe excitement got the best of her, but you're right in that. Had she already been to 4-ball 10 times in her life, she absolutely would have ran the pass. She was looks like maybe excitement got the best of her, but it's absolutely incredible. Good to see that record get bumped up again too.
Yeah. So moving on from women's slalom to women's tricks, Erica Lang, a skier that I think had been a little bit off the radar the last couple of years. Certainly it's still been skiing, but I don't know that people knew that she was still at the top of her game. She tricked over 10,000 points 10 different times and broke the world record, bumping it up to 10,850, which is, astounding. That puts her in league with the top 10 men's trick skiers in the world, probably within the top 5 or 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, incredible. What these Neely Ross and Anna Gay and now obviously Erica Lang, what they've accomplished in the last 3 years, 4 years is they have completely changed the face of women's tricks, and it is. It's exciting to watch, man. And then again, it's not hard to find. Social media, check out that record, man. I mean, it's like it's on a completely different level.
Yeah, it's astounding. And you go back and look at video of Erica from 5 years ago, and it was impressive, but, and no offense, Erica, but it was a little bit more of bull in a china shop. And you look at this last record, and it looks pretty elegant, pretty fantastic. So that brings us to the third world record of the year, which is men's overall, and kind of a category people forget about, men's overall. But Adam Settlemeyer, the sledgehammer, in one tournament, these aren't his best scores, but in one tournament, he ran 3 at 41, tricked 10,750, not quite as much as Erica, and then jumped 217. That's just crushing.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I
think
we've been discussing this back and forth quite a bit off air, and in my opinion, the greatest overall skier, I'm going to say in the history of our sport, because here's my argument on that, is that on any given weekend, Adam Settlemeyer could feasibly be on the podium in all 3 events, and to find that kind of balance while someone was at the height of their career, you'd have to go all the way back to Patrice, who for a short window was putting jump and slalom scores high enough that he could be on that podium as well. You look at like the greats, Jarrett Llewellyn, absolutely phenomenal, can win jump, can win tricks. He's not going to be on the podium in slalom. Back to Karl Roberge, who was winning jump and slalom on the same weekend, but he was not going to win trick that weekend. So, it's absolutely incredible. In my opinion, the greatest, most well-balanced rear event skier in the history of the sport.
Right, and just to add to that list, Sami, same deal. World jump record holder, solid trick skier, not a spectacular slalom skier. Jimmy Seamers, not a great slalom skier. Does he have a trick world record in the past? I think so.
I don't know.
Jimmy, 2 times world overall champion.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't actually have the
Close.
world trick record, he would definitely had it, within his grasp. But to be fair, pretty darn good slalomer. But yes, not going to be on the podium.
Yeah. But within that company, Sami, Karl, Patrice, Jimmy, I think you're right that Settlemyre really is potentially the most dominant across the 3 events. You have to start wondering if he belongs in the same sentence as Brett Wang. And of course, the folks at home will go, Brett Wang, and just go Google it. It's fine. Maybe the best skier ever. You're giving me a blank look.
No. I was just I was scanning. No, yes, you're right. Absolutely. I'm trying to think. Did he pair up with an Adam? But okay, and on to our third headline, our final headline of the season.
Third headline is Story of the Year. What is your Story of the Year? All the 41s?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that was quick. So my Story of the Year, and this is based on really all the conversations in my web forum, is the boats, plural, from Nautique. Something like 300,000 page views amongst a handful of threads in my forum are the readers talking about the new boats. Mm-hmm. Love the new boats, hate the new boats, think they're genius, think they're too expensive, whatever. The skiing public is insanely interested, or at least the folks on the internet, the chitter chatter about the new boats. The Nautique, Ski Nautique, and then the Nautique 200 new version built in Tennessee. Those boats, to me, are the most dominating story of the year.
Yeah, I guess, well, I mean, anytime one of the big manufacturers, be it Mastercraft, Malibu, or Nautique, comes out with a brand new design, we did it in 14, Malibu did it, I believe, in 16, and now this Nautique. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be much anticipated, really talked about. And then to further that, not this boat was rumored, I don't want to say it was delayed because that might not necessarily be accurate, but it was rumored for a few seasons. Everyone thought it was coming, where is it? And then when it finally, started getting leaked a little bit, it was, visibly unlike anything that Nautique had ever done. And, Mastercraft guy personally, so, that's where my allegiance lies. But they did some really interesting things, apart from, redesigning the hull and the interior. There's some cool technical features like ballast. There's an option for ballast for the tricks, to change the trick weight. A few more, Nautique employs a gate setting to tune the wake, so there's more options. Instead of just having it on jump mode or slalom mode, the jumpers can tune a bunch of different settings to get what they feel works best for them. And then there is a variable aspect to the tuners for the slalom wake too. So, I mean, end result was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was going to be a well-driving, well-skiing boat. And I think although it didn't come out with the fanfare they were hoping, people are always resistant to change, in my opinion. So by the end of the season, people were in love with the boat and thought it was a good product. And I guess time will tell whether, the next 12 months will tell whether that price point is above our demographic, what people are willing to pay, or whether people are just going to reconsider what they want to spend on a tournament boat.
Right. So yeah, and the launch clearly definitely didn't go the way they wanted it to go. But also as a Mastercraft guy, I'll tell you, if I go to a tournament and I see one of those boats and a good driver at the wheel, I have no excuses. The boat skis great.
It does.
Yep. It's fine. All right, Trent, who is your skier of the year?
So
and why?
Yeah, this is always fun for me. You know, like back with Water Ski Magazine days, we would, you know, the skier awards that was held in conjunction with the Malibu Open. So this is always fun, a chance to recognize one particular athlete. So for me, I went a slightly different matrix. I didn't go purely on numbers. I went like who captured that excitement, who captured that feeling that you know turned heads and got people talking, got people excited, got other people, got them in gear to get their butts on the water and get training and to try and catch this individual. And for me, that was absolutely Robert Pigozzi. He finished the season with an average of 5.5 at 41. He did that through 1 at 43 and through some multiple 4 at 41s. So again, putting himself in the elite company of people with scores into 43 off. He started the season, was not qualified for Masters, ventured down to Florida for the last chance qualifier, skied his way into that with, you know, a score deep into 41 and won the tournament. And then instead of curling up and just sort of resting on his laurels and on the fact that, man, I made it to my first Masters, he won the preliminary round and was seeded number 1 going into the finals. Ended up on the podium, 3rd place at his very first Masters, which is unheard of. And then he got his first pro win ever later that summer. He won one of the European Malibu Open stops. So the most talked about technique, the most misunderstood technique, one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. He's cool, and he just gets it done on the water. You know, he put himself in a position at the Pan American Championships at the very end of the season. He took Nate down in the prelims, and he had a shot at winning that thing. So it's just wasn't a flash in the pan. It created a lot of excitement, and it's the reason why I love this sport, is this story in particular.
Yeah, awesome. Just fantastic to see the year he's had. So my skier of the year is Regina. It's you know, like Settlemyre, it really is about her overall prowess. In slalom, she is head and shoulders above the competition. I hate to say that to Whitney and Minot, but I mean she's consistently 2 and 3 balls ahead of them. And then she's tricking over 8,000 points and had a top jump score, or amongst her overall score, she had a top jump score of 168. So in one tournament this year, she ran 2 at 41, ran 8 420 in tricks, and jumped 168. Yeah. And those aren't her best individual scores of the year. That's just one event as an overall skier. So to me, she is the most outstanding statistical women's skier, the most dominating skier in the sport. It was kind of a hard choice because you kind of go through and you look at the other options. It's got to be Regina for me. She's fantastic, and she's still going strong. I
agree. And like, here's a little bit of a. I know you're a numbers guy. If you took away gender, if you placed Regina into the overall group of 34 miles an hour skier, she'd be ranked in the top 5. She actually would be ranked 5th, and that's, you know, amongst a bunch of retired male pros who are, you know, still training regularly. So I mean, she's not good for a girl. She's not good for a part-time pro. She's just she's, you know, arguably the best.
Right. And it's, you know, it's just natural talent. It's not like she's super tall. It's not like she's big and strong, but strength to weight ratio is fantastic, and she's just gifted, right? I don't even know if talent is the right word. She's gifted.
Yeah, she's incredible. From work ethic to attitude to, you know, the way she handles herself with her, you know, amongst her fans and people that look up to her. She's got it all. She's the complete package, in my opinion, for sure.
All right. Well, that's our year.
Before we go, one more thing though. John, who was that 7th person to run 41 this year?
I don't know. Is it you?
No, it was not
Who
me.
was it?
That would have been cooler. No, it was the big man, Aaron Larkin.
Larkin, of course.
Took a whole bunch of years off, moved to Australia, moved back to Swiss, threw on a ski, slowed the boat down because the big Azza hadn't skied in a while, and he ran 0 at 43. He fell going through the exit gates at 41.
Did he drag his elbow around the balls? Or whatever he does, is it the big onside or offside? What does he do? It's like one side's massive, right?
He better have.
Both
sides. All of them.
All right, well, good for Larkin.
There it is. That's it. That's our year in review. It was a really good first season, and we're not taking any time off for the winter. We're going to be back at you in roughly a week's time. There's some really exciting industry shakeups, some new news, some new products, new skis, and we're going to revisit some pretty fascinating information on some of your favorite athletes.
Awesome. All right, we'll look forward to 2019. Thank you, Trent.